Alright, this is our home video for the insurance company in case Hurricane Andrew comes down and decides to rip everything we own to shreds. This is our wooden deck. Cost around $1,000 for us to get supplies from the hardware store. And hopefully it'll still be here whenever we get satellite now.
Wait, go ahead. Start again. Good.
This is our satellite dish that we got from Curtis Mathis, I think. And it cost a whole bunch of money. This is the Ranchero. Not the most gorgeous looking thing in the world, but it did cost money. Hopefully it will still be here. That is the Plymouth Duster. Better looking than the Ranchero. Hopefully it'll still be here. This was a garage that was like nasty looking, and we took a bunch of money and made it into an office. And
Okay.
alright. This is the garage. This was our garage that we took a whole bunch of money and a lot of hours of work turned into Pam's accounting office. And I don't want to be out here working for like another summer rebuilding this thing, so the hurricane had better not destroy this. A lot of money and hard work in it.
Would it be possible to look inside?
Alright, this is Pam's accounting office, and computer, laser printer, air conditioner, brand new air conditioner, new computer and laser printer. Nice desk. Brand new telephone back there. All new paneling, insulation. We just put in a drop ceiling. New door, new windows. Completely remodeled the place and just got done with it like this past week. And we're hoping Hurricane Andrew does not touch this place, because it cost a lot of money to build this and don't feel like it's getting ruined, because then it's a waste.
Tied. Tied.
Alright, 1, 3. Alright, behind me, we have 2 sheds filled up with a whole bunch of expensive things. Priceless antiques passed on generation after generation. And stuff we bought at garage sales. And expensive sheds too, so if they get ripped up, they'll probably cost more than a lot of stuff we have. That's... We already get the van?
No.
Ready?
Go.
Huh?
Go.
Alright. Back there we have 1987.
6.
86. Toyota minivan. Cost us a bunch of money. It'll probably be alright, but if in case it's not, we want another van. They don't pay us if these trees fall down, do they?
This is a tree that we're extremely concerned with. It's basically parts of it are hanging over the roof of the house. We have already taken some precautions with this particular tree to assure that strong winds aren't going to knock it onto the house. We've already taken off a few of the limbs to get it away from the house as much as possible. We have a VCR, color TV, and a satellite dish receiver, along with the stereo. The VCR, the receiver, and the Sylvania TV.
Broadcast this afternoon, 25.4 north, 76.5 west. 25.4 north, 76.5 west, or 240 miles east of Miami. Top winds remain 150 miles per hour, still moving toward the west at 16 miles per hour. And Jim, the forecast from the National Hurricane Center is essentially the same. They think it will make landfall sometime tomorrow morning, probably near the Miami area. Now, what does that mean for all of us? Right now, those hurricane force winds, those winds of 150 miles per hour, extend from the center northward about 30 miles. So if Hurricane Andrew comes on shore in Miami, take Miami as your center point and go 30 miles north, that's 150 mile-an-hour winds. Now, take Miami as your center point once again, go 100 miles north, and those are your tropical storm force winds. Tropical storm force winds just under 74 miles per hour. Major storm continuing to come our way, moving at a pretty good clip from the west, moving toward the west at 16 miles per hour. That's the very latest, the 5 o'clock advisory. A little bit of good news, but overall,
you can see the eye just above the...
Is believed to be the worst hit. Hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses are without power. But many of them are vacant, as nearly 1 million people were asked to evacuate ahead of Andrew's arrival, and most did. Those who stayed put endured winds as high as 168 miles per hour. CNN's John Zarella has been following the hurricane overnight from our Miami bureau, and he joins us on the phone now with an update. John?
Bobby, it is scaling down quite a bit now. The winds are still gusting outside, perhaps just above tropical storm force strength, maybe 35, 40 miles an hour. That's about it now. It's calming down rather quickly here. Still some rain showers and squalls moving in over the area. Our reporters who have been out in the field are telling stories of boats that are up on some of the in some parking lots and on highways. But in the Miami area, at least North Miami area, and many parts of central Miami, most of the damage seems to be confined primarily to downed trees. Now, that is certainly not any indication of what it is like further south in the area hardest hit in the Kendall area. It seems as if the swath that this storm cut a path through was about 10 or 20 miles wide, and around the core of the hurricane, that swath it cut was probably the most devastating. We have crews down in that area as well, gathering information and the latest pictures, but the folks that have been out on the street so far, as far down as places like Dinner Key Auditorium and South Beach on Miami Beach, again, much of the damage seems to be confined to boats that have been moved from their moorings, to trees that are down all over the roads, just one after the other after the other. But beyond that, fortunately, we are not hearing of any serious damage in this end of Dade County, and in Broward County to the north, it appears that the damage was even lighter than this, just some trees down here and there, and power, of course, though, is out all over Dade and Broward counties, which means no way to get gasoline, no way to... There are cars now that are on the road, and this is, right now we're starting to see some traffic move on the roads here, so you can tell just by that very plot there with traffic starting to move that it is... You we can get around here. It's not as if we're completely cut off, at least in this particular part of Dade County. Bobby?
John, the damage is a lot less severe than people originally thought it would be, especially that from flooding. In fact, there wasn't as much flooding as they thought there would be. Why is that? Is it just the path it took?
Well, it was moving fairly quickly, 16, 17 miles an hour. Historically, it's that slow-moving storm, that storm that moves at 5, 10 miles an hour, that lingers the longest over an area, that does the most destructive damage, that has time to dump the most amount of rain.
The management team out here, we are on Marco Island, which is just south of Naples. Collier County, of course, part of Collier County. And what he is telling us that they expect the eye of the storm, the eye of Andrew, to pass just south of where we are here on the southern tip of Marco within the next 45 minutes. And indeed, just again, in the last 10 minutes or so, things have gotten a lot darker here. Looking south to the Gulf, we see these, it's very dark. The visibility is very, very low. It's kind of a great sheet of gray out there in the Gulf. Anything not tied down is being blown away. There are a lot of trees down here, power outages. They are bracing themselves as the storm passes out of Miami for some trouble in the next hour or so. They expect the worst of the storm is yet to come here in Naples, with a possible storm surge following the eye as severe as 7 feet. So again, in Naples, we have not seen the kind of monumental winds that there were on the East Coast. We have had sustained winds for at least an hour and a half now of 80 miles an hour, with gusts blowing well over 100 miles an hour, Reed.
All right, thanks. That's Bill Delaney, who is on the Gulf side, and that is the side apparently in which Andrew is now working its way. Let's get a progress report on the hurricane's path now. CNN senior meteorologist Valerie Boss. Valerie?
Reed, as you can see from this view, a sequence hour by hour of Hurricane Andrew. It has moved across South Florida and is very close to being south of Marco Island at this time. Because of its rapid movement, not a lot of heavy rain, although the forecast through the region still for 5 to 8 inches in the southern half of Florida, some sections of central Florida. There are still hurricane warnings in effect along the west coast of Florida, although they have been discontinued along the east coast. As John Zarella told you, things are beginning to die down in that region. But now the question is what happens. This, of course, the worst case scenario for the southeastern U.S. A hurricane moving toward a major metropolitan area, moving through Miami or just to the south of it, moving across Florida into the Gulf of Mexico, and then taking aim on the Gulf Coast. The National Hurricane Center has issued a hurricane watch now for the Gulf Coast from Mobile, Alabama, all the way over to Sabine Pass, Texas, and the timing of this system would put it across the Gulf Coast region within about 40 to 48 hours, meaning sometime early Tuesday morning, or Wednesday morning rather, local time. The system, of course, has been a rapid mover, and it has been across south central Florida so quickly it only took 5 hours to pass across the southern part of the state. Let's look at the national radar composite now. This is a composite of different radar sites over southern Florida. And you see the eye where it's much easier to recognize, but then you see it still. This is Marco Island right in here, so you see it right out to the south. Naples is in the area, and of course it seems to have passed just around Everglades City and in that region, producing the heavy downpours and of course the storm surge. Circulation, of course, counterclockwise around the system, so the storm surge across the north half as it moved across the east coast of Florida, but now coming around on the south half, it'll probably get extreme southwestern Florida with that storm surge right around the center being the heaviest region. The Florida Keys have been bothered in the northern end, but really not the south end. In fact, at this point, it looks like Key West has not seen any rain at all, although Fort Myers has seen some thunderstorms and strong and gusty winds, and of course you heard about those strong winds currently along the west coast of Florida. On the east coast, things are, as I said, beginning to ease up. I'll be back with more on Andrew and also more on the weather around the world. Right now we go back to Valerie to Houston.
All right, Valerie, thanks. Well, our national correspondent, Bonnie Anderson, is in Homestead, Florida, which is about 25 miles southwest of Miami, and the city where the eye of the storm passed over about 5
Can't say that. I'm taping
We
this.
are actually about 1 mile north of Homestead. It's
Be nice to
taken us,
people.
about an hour and a half to drive the 20 miles from Miami to this point.
Let's love piano music.
The Collector's Library of Best Love Classics is just $19.95.
Don't pull it like
Call this
that.
toll-free number
I'll
now.
keep right out.
CNN Headline News, I'm Lynn Vaughn. 2 deaths and widespread destruction are reported following Hurricane Andrew's violent passage through Florida. The storm is now in the Gulf of Mexico, but there are fears it could eventually threaten U.S. communities on the other side of the Gulf. 2 deaths reported in Florida, one due to a falling tree, the other caused by a heart attack. Many roads were made impassable by falling signs, and shelters are filled with evacuees.